What's up, guys? This is Jaina here, coming at you from Elite Entertainment. What's going on, guys? Yeah, coming at you with another Learn to Play Here's a Storm edition. Today we're gonna go over the assassins. Some of you might be noticing that I'm opting to stream this instead of actually straight recording it. That is it, so it can be easier for me to export, but then again the downside is we're one take here, so let's do this right. One take, let's go, get into it. Of course, if you have not seen the last videos with the warriors, you can go back and watch those, linked. But today we're going to go into the top row of assassins, and then next episode we'll get into the bottom row, and then we'll move on to supports and then specialists, etc., etc., and then we'll do some map stuff, and then we'll start individually breaking down characters. But let's get into it right now. As many of you may remember, Cho'Gall, the one entity, Cho being the warrior, which you saw in a previous episode. If not, go back, watch it. Cho and Gall are both heads of one character, so they both play within the same movement, and they both more or less attack in unison. Well, not really in unison, but anyways, Gall is the ranged assassin version, or brother I should say, of Cho, and what he will be doing is he will be casting Q, his Shadow Flame, which deals 147 damage to an enemy in an area, which is basically, it's kind of just like a straight power shot, a bolt, if you would say, in a narrow line, as the ability mentions. So we'll get into that a little more later, but the Dread Orb, being your W ability, enables you to throw a bomb that will bounce 3 times, dealing 148 damage to enemies. This isn't your runic bomb ability, which some of you may remember. Cho has the ability to throw the rune bomb, but this is actually different. This is a Dread Orb. It's basically just like a void kind of orb that just bounces like a bouncy ball a couple times in whichever direction you throw it. And then your E is your runic blast, which detonates Cho's rune bomb, dealing 274 damage around it. So like I said, when Cho throws out that rune bomb, it's up to Gall to use that E to blow it up. And there are audio cues, guys. Listen for the audio cues. We'll get into that a little more when we look at them one at a time. Of course, his passive is the same, permanently attached to Cho. Going where he goes, you are immune to stun and silence effects as well. So, big plus for a ranged assassin. Of course, let's get into your first heroic ability. After your Shadow Bolt volley, after 1 second, unleash 20 Shadow Bolts over 4 seconds, each dealing 103 damage to your first target hit. The bolts fire towards your mouse, which basically means wherever your mouse is the direction the volley will go, doing 103 damage per hit, which is a lot of damage actually, so you do not want to get hit by that. The second heroic is Twisting Nether. After 1 second, nearby enemies are slowed by 50 while you channel up to 5 seconds. And it deals 415 damage. So it's basically like more or less an AoE around you. Kind of like Gazzo's Time Bomb, but not targeted. Or placed, rather. But that's Gall for you. Moving on to CrowMe. Ooh, wow. Okay, they put CrowMe is a really new character. She actually just came out 2 weeks ago? Last week? I think she came out last week. No, 2 weeks ago. But CrowMe is another ranged assassin. She's going to be hitting you with her Q ability, which is her Sandblast. After 1 second, she fires a missile that deals 390 damage to the first enemy hero hit. Which basically means you choose a line in which to shoot your Sandblast, and then after 1 second, it will release. This, keep in mind, this also goes through minions. So a Sandblast will not affect minions whatsoever, which makes it really hard to farm with CrowMe. But with her W ability, Dragon's Breath, fire a blast into the air that lands after 1.5 seconds, dealing 440 damage to enemies in an area, and enemies cannot see where the blast will land. So Dragon's Breath could be used to wave clear at later levels. That's kind of where the only place she's going to get her farming from. Other than that, the enemies cannot see where the blast will land is really big for setting those traps up and ultimately surprising your targets. Of course, her E ability, her time trap, place a time trap that arms and stealths after 2 seconds. The first enemy hero to touch it will be put into stasis for 2 seconds. Only one trap can exist at once. So you place a time trap, and it takes 2 seconds, and then it goes completely stealth. Before that 2 seconds, of course, the enemy team could destroy it. But once it goes stealth, the enemy team can't see it. Once somebody touches it, they're put in a stasis mode, which basically it's invulnerability, immortality. You can't hit them, you can't stun them, you can't do anything. So, and they're put in the same mode either. They can't move or do anything as well. So they're put in that for 2 seconds, and then that's that. Can be upgraded to have an additional slow effect, which can be really devastating. Her passive, Time Walker, you've traveled to the future, and as such, you will learn your talents one level earlier than your teammates. So instead of the standard 147, she actually goes 1369. So she actually gets her heroic ability at level 9, whereas normal heroes. Normal's such a non-political correct word nowadays. But anyways, she gets her heroic at level 9, whereas everybody else would get it at 10. Moving on to her heroic ability, now that we're talking about it, her slowing sands places a sand vortex that greatly slows enemies inside it. The longer it is active, the more it slows, up to 50% after 5 seconds. So it's basically just a targeted circle area where this more or less vortex is basically just slows anybody who enters it. More or less self-explanatory. Second heroic ability, Temporal Loop. Choose an enemy hero. After 3 seconds, they will teleport back to the location where you cast Temporal Loop on them. This could be really good. Needs to be really coordinated with things, though. It needs to be used on the right hero, kind of stuff like that. But that's CrowMe. New character. I definitely need a buyer. I'm pretty close. I'm pretty sure I have like 9K left. I just need to play more. Falstead, moving on. Our winged beast. Our dwarf on a griffin. What are we to do with you, Falstead? His Q ability, Hammering, throwing out a hammer that returns to you, dealing 132 damage and slowing enemies by 25% for 2 seconds. More or less self-explanatory. He throws the hammer in a straight line and he comes back to you, slowing anybody hit. It's not bad. Good ability. Well, second W, Lightning Rod, dealing 107 damage to an enemy and an additional 75 damage per second for 4 seconds. if you remain close to the target. So his lightning rod, basically he chooses a target, deals 107 damage, and as long as they stay within range, it'll keep doing 75 damage per second for 4 seconds. His E ability, used mostly as an escape, barrel roll dashes forward and grants a 171 point shield for 3 seconds. So it could be used as an escape, could be used as an engage, depends on what kind of heroic you use. But barrel roll, basically you just spin in whatever direction you dash towards. That simple. His passive Tailwind gained 20% increased movement speed after not taking damage for 6 seconds. So he's a really fast mover. Also, Falstead does not have a mount. His actual Z ability, which would usually be mount for most characters, he can actually fly directly to any place on the map within vision. It's a longer cooldown, but it actually helps on certain maps to have Falstead have that ability to just kind of fly wherever he wants. Moving on to his heroics. First is his Hinterlands Blast. After a short delay, deal 475 damage to enemies within a long line. It's kind of like Syndergosa with Arthas, if you have seen the previous videos. It does basically, I wouldn't say frost damage, even though it says Hinterlands Blast. It looks more like electricity, in my opinion. But what it is it's a charged straight shot in a huge line that deals 475 damage to anybody within it. And then his second heroic ability is Mighty Gust, which could be used in combination with barrel roll at certain times. Push enemies away and slows their movement speed by 60%, decaying over 5 seconds. So you could say a lot of players, if they're feeling like, if people are really on point and really communicating, a good Falstad would actually go into the back of the enemy team, barrel roll into the back of them, and then Mighty Gust them into their teammates. And then usually the team would have a bunch of AoE waiting, and he would just come in and pick up the rest of the damage. But that's a strategy. That's a strategy for at least having at least 3 people communicating. Moving on to Greybane. Starting off with his Q ability, his Gillian's Cocktail. Actually, let's start with his passive, because Greybane's a little different. What he does, his passive ability is his Curse of the Worgen, and what he does is he can use certain abilities to shapeshift between a human and a Worgen. While human, your basic attack is increased. While human, your basic attack is ranged, and while Worgen, your basic attack is melee but deals 40% more damage. So, think about that. He could basically change into Worgen or human form whenever he wants. It just depends on what ability he uses and what form he then determines what the ability does, if that makes sense. Hopefully it will after this. So his first Q ability is his Gillian's Cocktail in human form, which hurls a flask that deals 59 damage to the first enemy hit and explodes for 177 damage to enemies in a cone behind them. So it's basically targeted arc damage. Throw it in a certain direction, it explodes into a straight cone, dealing 59 damage at the core, and then 177 at the end. If you're in Worgen form, your Q ability will be your Razor Swipe, which will swipe forward and damage enemies you pass through. And then your W ability is your Inner Beast, gain 50% attack speed for 3 seconds, and basic attacks refresh this duration, which you can use in Worgen or human form, does the same thing. Your E ability is your Dark Flight, shapeshift into a Worgen and leap at an enemy, dealing 88 damage. And then if you're already a Worgen, disengage, roll away, and shapeshift into a human. So your E is basically your button to choose whether you want to turn into a Worgen or a human. Each one does, as you can see, does different things. And then we're jumping down to the heroics. Go for the throat, which lets you leap at an enemy hero and shapeshift into a Worgen, slashing 3 times for 375 total damage. If this kills them, the ability can be used a second time within 10 seconds for free. So, of course, can be stacked if you use it, like it says, at the right time. If you kill, say you jump on somebody, you kill them, you jump on somebody else, you kill them, you can keep jumping until the ability doesn't kill somebody, which could be pretty useful in certain situations. His second ability, Marked for the Kill, shapeshifts into a human and fires a shot, hitting the first enemy hero for 68 damage. For 5 seconds, they are vulnerable, taking 25% more damage, and you can reactivate this to leap at them and shapeshift into a Worgen. So, basically, you turn into a human, shoot them. If you reactivate the ability, you can leap at them and turn back into a Worgen, which could allow you to unleash a lot of massive damage, considering they're vulnerable and they're already they're taking 25% more damage. Well, yeah, that's what it means. Cool. Anyways, moving on. Illidan, we all know him. A lot of us know him. The devil, the infernal. Oh my god, damn Illidan, always causing problems. His Q ability, he dives at the target, dealing 66 damage and flipping to the other side of the target. So annoying. Basically, dives in a straight line, cuts you, and appears behind you, or whichever direction he came from. His W ability is Sweeping Strike, dashes forward towards the target, dealing 119 damage to enemies along the way. Hitting an enemy increases your basic attack damage by 35% for 3 seconds. Yeah. Illidan. Self-explanatory. His evasion. Evade enemy basic attacks for 2.5 seconds. Ouch. Any basic attack. He just evade. I'm not here. Passive ability, Betrayer's Thirst. Basic attack heals for 30% of damage dealt, and reduce your ability cooldowns by 1 second. So he's already getting cooldown reductions and extra basic attack damage. So ouch. Yeah, Illidan's sometimes a pain in the butt, but you know, we love him. We love him. Moving on to his first heroic, his Metamorphosis ability. Transform into demon form at the target area location, dealing 46 damage in the area. Temporarily increase your maximum health by 200 for each enemy hero hit. Lasts for 18 seconds. So, yeah. He basically turns into a big demon and starts whacking people and gaining health. So, ouch. And then, of course, he has the Hunt, which allows him to charge at a target unit, dealing 251 damage on the impact and stunning for 1 second. Which could be talented to use globally. Actually, Yeah. It either already has a really long range or it could be used globally. I'm not sure. I haven't dabbled in Illidan for a long time. But, yes, that is Illidan. That is your melee assassin. We scared Illidan. But it's okay. We got Jaina, who can sometimes, live through Illidan's punish. Her Frostbolt Q dealing 190 damage and putting a chill on the target. Basically, just a little icicle shooting in a line out your staff, whoosh, straight wherever your mouse is. Her W ability, her Blizzard, bombard an area with 2 waves of ice, dealing 160 damage each, 67 damage each, and damaged enemies are chilled. Basically, what it is it's a targeted circle that rains down ice, and enemies within the area take 67 damage. Her E ability, Cone of Cold, deals 200 damage and chills targets. It's more of like an arc ability. Starting at her, unlike Frostbolt, it's a cone shape in front of Jaina wherever she's shooting. Moving on to her passive, her Frostbite, all abilities chill targets, slowing movement speed by 25% and amplifying damage from your abilities by 50, which lasts 4 seconds. So, chilling targets slows character's movement speed, and any other chill damage will hit them for 50% more if they're already chilled. So, Jaina is really good at keeping those escapes low and keeping people just kind of like chill. Shut up. Moving on, her heroic ability, Ring of Frost. After a 1.5 delay, create a Ring of Frost in an area that deals 310 damage and roots enemies for 3 seconds. The ring persists for 3 seconds afterwards, chilling any enemies who touch it. So, Ring of Frost, a big, huge, targeted circle thingy, a lot bigger than Blizzard, a lot bigger, will hit the ground and root enemies for 3 seconds initially, but it will persist afterwards, chilling any enemies who touch it, so they will start taking extra damage from your normal abilities. Of course, her second heroic, Summon a Water Elemental, which allows her to summon a water elemental at a target location. The water elemental basic attack do 78 damage, splash for 25% damage, and can chill. Can reactivate the ability to retarget the water elemental. Lasts for 20 seconds. So if you need just an extra little damage on the field, which also can apply your chill ability, just have your water elemental on that support, preferably not on the tank. Please, guys, please stop putting your water elementals attacking the tanks. It's just such a bad idea, and it bears repeating, but it shouldn't be happening. It really shouldn't. Moving on, KT, Kalthas, how you doing, buddy? How you doing? You look happy today. Anyways, Q ability, Flame Strike, deal damage in it. Oh, what? Oh, anyway. Flame Strike. After 1 second, deal 320 damage in an area. Whoa. Verdant Spheres increases the radius by 50%. Whoa. Okay, so, target ability, circle, thingy, kind of like Blizzard, does 320 damage in that circle after 1 second. As you will see with his trait ability, his Verdant Spheres, if that is activated, it will increase the radius but we will get to that in 2 seconds. Moving on to his W ability, Living Bomb, dealing 252 damage over 3 seconds to an enemy, and then Explode, dealing 138 damage to all nearby enemies. All other heroes damaged by this explosion are also affected by a Living Bomb, though the secondary explosions cannot spread. Bam. So, a lot of you may not know this. I actually didn't know this. KT got a rework. I wouldn't say a nerf, but he got a rework. So, previously with Living Bomb. Anyways, no, I shouldn't get into that now. I'll get into that later. When we do, remind me. Somebody asked for the video. I want a KT video. Ah! Okay, no. Anyway, Phoenix ability, Heroic, launching a Phoenix into an area, dealing 78 damage to enemies along the way. The Phoenix persists for 7 seconds, attacking enemies for 78 damage and splashing for 50%. So, it's more or less a Ring of Frost kind of big circle, launching a Phoenix into the area. Phoenix is in the middle. It shoots a single target, dealing 78 damage to that target, and that damage flashes for 50% to anybody it hits. So, that hurts. Of course, his second heroic ability, also very, very useful. Cannot get away from currently. We still cannot get away from this. We still cannot. But there may be a way. There is a character coming out. There may be a way. Anyway, Pyroblast. After 2 seconds, cast a slow-moving fireball that deals 810 damage to an enemy hero and 405 damage to nearby enemies. So not only does it do the initial damage to the hero, but it also does the reduced damage in an area around the explosion. Along the way, the Phoenix persists for 7 seconds, attacking enemies for 78 damage and splashing for 50%. So, it's more or less a Ring of Frost kind of big circle, launching a Phoenix into the area. Phoenix is in the middle. It shoots a single target, dealing 78 damage to that target, and that damage flashes for 50% to anybody it hits. So, that hurts. Of course, his second heroic ability, also very, very useful. Cannot get away from currently. We still cannot get away from this. We still cannot. But there may be a way. There is a character coming out. There may be a way. Anyway, Pyroblast. After 2 seconds, cast a slow-moving fireball that deals 810 damage to an enemy hero and 405 damage to nearby enemies. So not only does it do the initial damage to the hero, but it also does the reduced damage in an area around the explosion. Yeah. People really should look into KT if you haven't already. It's a really good character. Moving on to Kerrigan, our melee assassin, our vixen, our strangely possessed Zerg thingy. Pinky out. Anyway, Ravage. You leap to a target dealing 228 damage. If the enemy dies within 1.5 seconds, this cooldown is instantly reset. Oh my god. Oh my god. I think I like that word. Reset. Every time I say reset, let's have a ding on the bell. So, it can basically be used, it has an 8-second cooldown, which is kind of a lot for a assassin ability, but it can be chained, like it said, to dead enemies. So, Yeah. And what's good is it doesn't have to actually be a killing blow. It says within 1.5 seconds. So if you damage them with Ravage and somebody kills them within that time frame, it still gets reset. So just use it at the right timing. Anyways, moving on. W Impaling Blades. After 1.25 seconds, deal 251 damage to enemies within the target area, stunning them for 1 second. I mostly say enemy because there's usually only like one enemy that actually runs into it. But I mean, you could hit 2 enemies with it if they're really bunched up. But it's kind of a small circle. You'll be really disappointed at how small the circle is. But that's what it does. That's your W ability. Moving on to her E, her Primal Grasp pulls enemies within the target area towards you, dealing 110 damage. Holla! Anyways, basically what it does is these spikes come out from maybe like 4 feet in front of you, and they're like these spikes rising out of the ground, and they're like, ha ha ha, we are our own thing, and they come at you. They're like coming after Kerrigan, but they're not coming after you. Nah, they coming after your target, and they're gonna pull them towards you, cause there's scary spikes or something. Kerrigan, I love you. Assimilation. Gain 10% of damage dealt from basic attacks and abilities as shield for 6 seconds. Shield amount gained doubles against heroes. Her starting maximum is 1,000 for shield points. So basically every time she does basic attack damage, 10% of that goes into a personal little shield bubble for Kerrigan, giving her that little sustainability that she sometimes so desperately needs. She never is healed enough. What? Anyways, Heroic Maelstrom. Maelstrom. Anyways, deal 82 damage per second to nearby enemies, lasting for 7 seconds. Basically, it's just a huge AoE around Kerrigan, coming in, all lightning, kind of as big as Falstead's little lightning rod circle, but this does damage to all enemies for 7 seconds within her little AoE circle. Or she can summon an Ultralisk, which attacks the target to deal 100 damage, and attack splash to enemies. What kind of English is that? Attack splash to nearby enemies for 50% damage. That's my bad. I just can't read. You can reactivate this ability to retarget the Ultras. Lasts for 20 seconds. Basically like Jaina's little water elemental. But of course it doesn't allow Kerrigan to do extra damage. Darn. But it's a big scary Ultralisk doing that splash damage. So if you need somebody out of a fight, just chase him with an Ultralisk. He'll probably run away. And of course, we get to Li Ming. How you doing, darling? You good? That look, though. That look. The skins, though. The skins. Look at that. Look at that. It's like royalty. Anyways, moving on. Magic Missile. Her Q ability fires 3 missiles towards an area, each dealing 147 damage to the first enemy hit. These missiles do 50% damage to structures. Ouch. Okay, so she doesn't do that much siege damage anymore, but who cares? She's an assassin. She wasn't really meant to anyways. Her W ability, Arcane Orb, fires an orb that powers up as it travels, dealing 135 damage to the first enemy hit. The amount of damage dealt is increased the further it travels, up to 405 damage. So, basically, it does 135 damage at the start, and the further it goes, the more damage it does, up to 405. Of course, she has her E ability, which allows her to teleport a short distance instantly, which could be used as an escape, mostly should be used as an escape, shouldn't be used as damage, which some people still take as talents, which you really, really do not need to put a talent point into teleport. You really, really don't. Anyway, moving on. Critical Mass passive. Getting a takedown will refresh the cooldown on all your abilities. All your abilities. Upon killing somebody. Doesn't that sound great? My face is so evil right now. No, seriously. Getting a takedown on an enemy will refresh the cooldown on all your abilities at any time. You don't necessarily have to be you don't necessarily have to have the killing blow. You just have to be part of the kill to get the takedown for your team. If that makes sense. New players probably won't get it yet. Old players will understand. Yeah, I just called you guys old. Ha! Don't make me disintegrate you! Nobody? Nobody? Okay. Disintegrate. Channeling and powerful beam, dealing 440 damage over 2.5 seconds to enemies while they are in it. The direction of the beam changes with your mouse and mouse cursor position. So wherever your mouse is pointed is where the beam will shoot out of your hands. It's a straight, solid plasma beam of arcane mischief, which will damage all enemies within it over 2.5 seconds. No, it does not deal 440 damage constantly. Don't get it twisted, yo. Or you can choose her second heroic ability, Wave of Force, which will knock away all enemies from an area and deal 160 damage. Boom. What Wave of Force is, it's basically a targeted drop. Wherever you target, avatar of yourself will drop down and create a wave of force within an area, knocking enemies back from that target location. So it does have a little bit of range, but you should, if you need that knockback for whatever reason, you should use it effectively, like knocking people back towards you so you have more time to blast them with whatever you need. So that's the first row of assassins today. So we'll get into the next row within the next episode. I'm actually going to start a challenge for those of you who want to be a part of it. Feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. If you want me to go over a certain character, let me know. If you want me to talk about certain things, let me know. Certain questions, comments, put them all down there. I will be happy to oblige. Of course, if anybody has any gameplay that they're willing to share of a certain character, I would be more than honored to be able to be allowed to use it for future videos when I talk about the certain characters and their talent builds. So if anybody has videos they want to donate to Elite, let me know. Put them in the comments, link them, and yeah, thank you. So I will see you guys. I will see you stream in about 5 minutes. Everybody else, till next time. This is Jaina with Learn2Play, Heroes of the Storm, Assassins. Peace.